Shalum Shalum Mashpaka. Watchman Yirmiyahu with Qadashayam of Yasharal. And I want to just talk to you for a moment about the current path that the president is on and how we can compare to King Ahab in 1 Kings chapter 22. Nothing new under the sun, and examine the similarities in the personalities and look into the spiritual aspect that underlines everything that happens with the kings of the earth. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but principalities, powers, dominions, wicked Ruach Ha'Qadash. Let's take a look. Donald Trump has chosen to surround himself with quote-unquote yes men, sycophants, who aren't going to oppose him in his will, in his plans, in his pursuit of fame and fortune. And it says here, Donald Trump chooses loyal helpers like Pete Hegseth and Marco Rubio instead of traditional advisors who might disagree with him. The shift in staffing, loyalty over experience. Multiple of the second-term picks were chosen for their devotion rather than government background or experience. No guardrails. Unlike his first term, few officials remain to temper his impulses or offer caution. The risk of agreement, groupthink. Advisors who agree on everything can cause leaders to ignore red flags. Isolated choices, echo chambers can lead to unexamined policies and poor outcomes during major crises. Let's listen to a brief video clip and then we'll examine 1 Kings chapter 22 and the foolish king Ahab.
Trump has fully taken over the Republican Party. His administration is truly stacked with loyalists. There is a complete submission all around him to the rules of winning his favor, which is to say you tell him things he wants to hear, you flatter him. And when the world around you has bought into manipulating you that way, and you have an ego like he already has, and you don't have rigorous modes of thought or policy process, it is actually impossible that you will maintain a normal connection to reality.
So going back to the Old Testament, 1 Kings chapter 22, I'm just going to provide a summary of the events that occur here. Okay, we have Yashar'Al divided north and south, and so it would begin that in ancient Yashar'Al, kingdom was split in two. In the north, King Ahab reigned, and Yashar'Al was notorious for turning from Yahuwah and embracing idols. In the south, King Yahusha leads Judah, striving for righteousness and loyalty. Despite these two kings' differences, Jehoshaphat seeks an alliance with Ahab, a decision that will have dire consequences. For 3 years, Shalom holds, but Ahab's ambition to reclaim Ramoth Gilead from the Arameans stirs trouble. Ahab invites Jehoshaphat to join him in battle. Jehoshaphat agrees, hoping for unity, but insists that they first seek the counsel of Yahuwah. This alliance, built on shaky spiritual ground, places the stage for a dramatic confrontation between truth and deception. 2 Kings 2 kingdoms, one loyal, one rebellious, now bound together by politics, not principle. Jehoshaphat's intentions blind him to the danger of partnering with a king who is defiant to Yahuwah. The request to seek Yahuwah's counsel will soon expose the rot at the heart of Ahab's court. What follows is a clash between loyalty and apostasy, and a test of where true allegiance lies. The fate of both kingdoms now hangs on the voices they choose to trust. Ahab gathers 400 court prophets, eager to please their king. They unanimously promise a victory at Ramoth Gilead. Their words are tailored for royal approval. Jehoshaphat, sensing that something is amiss, asks, "Is there not a prophet of Yahuwah here?" Ahab reluctantly mentions Micah, a prophet he despises for never prophesying favor about him. The king's true desire is not truth, but affirmation. Despite his reluctance, Ahab sends for Micah at Jehoshaphat's insistence. The stage is once again arranged. One honest prophet against a sea of flattering voices. The question is no longer just about war, but about who will speak and who will hear the truth. In a world of convenient lies, a single voice of truth is about to break through. The fate of kings and kingdoms now rests on whether that voice will be listened to. The confrontation between Micah and the false prophets is about to begin. Micah is warned to echo the other prophets, but he refuses. He'll only speak what Yahuwah reveals. Before the 2 kings, Micah first mocks the false prophets, then delivers Yahuwah's true message. Yashar'Al will be scattered, their king lost. Ahab's angered, accuses Michael of personal malice, missing the warning that's meant for his deliverance. Micah reveals a vision. Yahuwah allows a lying spirit to deceive Ahab's prophets, sealing the king's fate. The truth is met with violence. Zedekiah strikes Micah, and Ahab orders him to be imprisoned until he returns safely, a return that Micah declares will never happen. The court chooses the comforting lies over this hard truth. Micah stands alone, rejected for his loyalty. The die is cast. Ahab will march to war, blind to the disaster that was foretold. The power of truth is clear, but so is the cost of ignoring it. The stage is arranged for judgment. The voice of Yahuwah has spoken, but will anyone listen? The battle and its consequences are inevitable. Ignoring Micah's warning, Ahab disguises himself in battle, while Jehoshaphat wears his royal robes. The Arameans target Jehoshaphat, mistaking him for Ahab, but Yahuwah spares him when he cries out, Hallelujah. Ahab, hidden in among the other soldiers, believes that he is safe, but his destiny is sealed. A random arrow, guided by providence, strikes Ahab in a vulnerable spot, and he is mortally wounded. Ahab dies as the sun goes down. His army scattered in panic. Micah's prophecy is complete. Yashar'Al is left without a shepherd. Ahab's scheme cannot outwit Yahuwah's judgment. The alliance ends in tragedy, and the cost of ignoring truth is paid in blood. The kingdom is left in chaos. The lesson is clear. No disguise can hide you from Yahuwah's judgment. Micah's lonely stand for truth foreshadows the great deliverance of Yahusha HaMashiach. Like Micah, Yahusha spoke truth to power and was hated for it. Both faced rejection, violence, and imprisonment for their messages of truth. Micah's vision of sheep without a shepherd echoes Yahusha's compassion for the lost sheep of Yashar'Al. The story is more than an ancient history. It points to the need for a true shepherd, a leader who guides with truth, not flattery. Micah's courage prepares us to understand the mission of HaMashiach. In a world filled with lies, the cost of truth is high, but its reward is eternal. The voice crying in the wilderness still calls us to choose truth over comfort and loyalty over fear. It is very clear to see the path that we are all on, the path of the whole world, following the king of Babylon, being driven by wicked spirits, deceiving, pride-filled, and thirsty for blood. In the book of Isaiah, chapter 30, verse 10, we can read, "Which say to the seers, See not, and to the prophets, Prophesy not unto us right things or truth. Speak to us smooth things, prophesy deceits." Donald Trump indeed wants to be surrounded by people who tell him what he wants to hear, and who lick his boots, who kiss up to him. However, this time, as we're watching Revelation unfold, being in the tribulation, seeing all these wicked kings conspiring and working together, this isn't just for the destruction of Yashar'Al. Yashar'Al will be delivered, Baruk Yahuah. This is to the destruction of the wicked. It is to the destruction of the entire world. Those who are on the broad path that leads to destruction, who choose not to stand boldly for the truth, but rather comfortably rest in a world filled with lies. Shalom Shalum Mashpaka. Yahusha is mighty, and he will do it. Hallelujah. By the power and will of Yahuah, Yahusha, the Messiah, the one who we love him because he first loved us, right? Because while we were yet enemies at enmity with the Most High, he humbled himself, he took on flesh, he took on the role of a servant, he lived a perfect, righteous, or Qadash life. He willingly laid his life down, no one took it from him. He bore our iniquities on his body. He was impaled on a tree. He was in the tomb 3 days, and he rose again in power, in sovereignty, in majesty, in all esteem. All esteem Yahusha. Yahusha comes in the name of the Father, Yahuah. Baruk is he who comes in the name of the Most High. Thank you so much for stopping by. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. You'll also find the email in the description of all YouTube videos. So send us a message, a praise report, a prayer request. Much love.